Hi there, Parker Glynn-Adey here with Math 402. There's been a lot of questions on Piazza about model number 4, and I just want to offer a couple clarifications on this annular model. Okay, so the question is, what are we gluing and how's the gluing work basically? So what do we have? We have a number of strips of paper, like this, and we want to glue them together so that their inner edges line up with their outer edges. Right? So we want to glue this guy to this guy. Now, what do we have? The angle here is going to be called A. We're calling this inner radius little r, and this outer radius big R. So the first thing that we have to realize is that these edges are of different lengths, right? This inner edge and this outer edge have different lengths. So the inner edge is going to be of length A times R, and this outer edge is going to be of length A times big R. So this is why the model bends a little bit, is that we have these different lengths. So coming up with a perfect gluing, we want something that glues these guys as follows. Okay, so essentially the issue is that they're both of different lengths. So our gluing must somehow compress stuff. Our gluing is effectively going to go from something of length A big R to something of length A little r. Right? So we can't just take the identity map, right? If we think of these things as intervals, the interval A big R is longer than the interval A little r. Right? So there's going to be a lot of stuff left over if we just take the identity map. So what we need to do is come up with a nice linear map that compresses this thing. So what we can do is we can say that we somehow have to compress AR to A little r. Okay, so this function actually has to do some amount of stretching and compressing. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is that if we start off with two curves and we follow this compression process, then the distance between them is going to change a little bit. So let's say we start off with our curves x and y. Now, because things get squished when we do this gluing, if we start heading in this direction, when we apply our perfect gluing, they're going to get a little bit closer together. Right? That will smush them. Going the other way, an interesting thing happens. Going the other way, the opposite of a compression is an expansion. So these guys are actually going to get stretched a little bit this way. So if we travel to the strip before us, we get stretched out a little bit. Okay, so going upwards in strips, things get compressed and come closer together, and going downwards in strips, they get stretched out and go farther apart. Okay, so what this tells us is that this distance function will be non-constant, and moreover, it'll depend on how many strips we move through. Right, so going upwards, using that perfect gluing, things come closer together. Going downwards using that perfect gluing, things come farther apart. So I hope that this answers some of the common questions that came up on Piazza, during office hours, this kind of thing. We're going to grant a 48-hour extension so you can process these comments and get the best possible mark on Model 4. Thank you.